The time is 15 hours.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Hello. Hello. Hello, everyone.
Lauchi, we were muted.
Hello, 老师。
Muted 老师。
Okay. Let's continue. Let's continue.
OK 老师 OK。
OK， 老师。
Last class, I introduced the discrete input and output. Discrete input and output, which means digital input and output. This class introduced analog input and output systems. Analog input module are used in application where the field device's signal is continuous. Unlike discrete signals, which possesses only two states, analog signals have an infinite number of states. The temperature, for example, is an analog signal because it continuously changes by infinitesimal amount. Analog input interfaces translates continuous analog signals into discrete values that can be interpreted by PLC processors. Analog input interface translates continuous analog signal into discrete analogs, which means AD convert, which means AD convert. This table lists some devices that are typically interfaced with analog input modules. Flow transducer, humidity transducer, node cell transducer, potentiometers, pressure transducers, vibration transducers, temperature transducers. This is some analog input signals. If we want to use the analog input signals, we need to use analog input modules. This module translates analog signals to discrete signals. Analog input modules digitize analog input signals, thereby bringing analog information into PLC. The modules store this multi-bit information in register locations inside the PLC. The analog instructions are used with analog input modules are similar to the instruction used with multi-bit discrete input. This figure show the digitization of an analog signal. This is a continuous signal input by the analog input module. This module transforms input by digitizing signals. The signals are digitized become the binary values and then sent to PLC stored in register. This is a analog input module. The steps are in converting an analog signal to binary formats. Step 1, the transducer detects the precise signal. Right? Second, the transducer transforms the precise signal into an electrical signal that the analog input can recognize. The analog input transforms the signal into 12 bits value proportional to the electrical input to the module. Step 4, a block transfer in instruction or another analog input instruction transfer the 12 bits value to the PLC. The PLC stores the 12 bits digital value in memory location for future use. After the instruction is executed, the contents of register will be digital. Since the value is represented in 12 bits, the preceding bits are filled with 0. Analog field devices are usually connected to transmitters. A transducer converts a field device's variable into a very low-level electrical signal that can be amplified by a transmitter amplifies the signal and then inputs into the analog interface. The precise variable is sensed by the sensor or transducer. The transmitter amplifies the signal and input into the interface. Analog input module have several standard electrical input rating as shown in the table. Its current SDC. Its analog inputs are digital representation. Transformation of analog signal to a binary or BCD values. BCD values are. The analog input digits are can converted to binary or BCD values are binary or BCD values. An analog to digital converters perform the signal conversion in an analog input module. The resolution of the module is given as a function of how many bits the LED uses during conversion. For example, if an LED breaks down, an input signal uses 12 bits or 4096 parts. It has a 12 bits resolution. 12 bits resolution. In this case, the manufacturers could then use the remaining bits. As stated, the monitoring bits representing module conditions such as active, OK, channel, operating, etc. This is some example for the analog to digital converter with 12 resolution. 12. This is some example for the PSI value transducer to decimal equivalent and the engineering unit. Here is an example about the temperature sensor. This is the temperature from the precise range from 100 to 600 centigrade. After the sensor transduces the status to the analog module. The temperature becomes the voltage. Its temperature becomes the voltage from 1 to 5 V. 1 to 5 V. After the voltage converted to digital number, the digital is from 0 to 4095. 4095. The change in temperature, voltage, and the input count are 500 centigrade degree. 4 V DC and 4095 counts. The voltage change for 1 centigrade temperature change is the delta 500 is to 4 is equal to 4 V. So 1 centigrade is 4 divided by 500. So for 1 centigrade, the voltage is 8 micro-V. The change in voltage for each input count the count this count is equivalent to the 4V. So one count is this V. This V. So the corresponding number of count per degree synthesis is like this. And this example is about the temperature this temperature converted to voltage, and the voltage converted to the digital This range is 500 This is 4. This is 4,095 This is another example. A temperature transducer transmitters provides 0 to 10 V voltage signal that is proportional to the temperature variable being measured. The temperature measured range between 0 and 1000 centigrade. The analog input module accepts voltage 0 to 10 V unipolar signal range and converts it to a range of 0 to 4,095 counts. The precise application where this signal is being used to detect low and high alarms at 100 centigrade and 500 centigrade respectively. As the temperature transducer connected to input module. This is from the field. This is from field. The field is the temperature. It in the field transducers sense the temperature into the voltage and the voltage is inputted to the analog input module and the voltage is converted to this number converted to this number. The relation between counts and the input signal This is counts this is temperature this is temperature this is voltage this is related 0 10 V to 1000 centigrade 1000 centigrade. So if you want to calculate the number at any position, we can use it as this equation. As we know, this is a 9, so we can calculate the value by the 9 equation. By the 9 equation. This is a 9 equation. This is 9 equation. So we can calculate the temperature by this equation. Another method for solving this problem is to determine the number of count that are equivalent to 1 centigrade R. 1 centigrade R. The count for 500 centigrade would be 500 times this unit R. Rounding of this value, we can get the this rounding this value. If the count had not started at 0, an offset count addition would have been necessary for computing the number of count per degree R. During the input reading section of this game, the processor reads the value from the module and transfer the information to a location specified by the user. Most analog modules provide more than one channel, or inputs per interface. A processor can determine whether or not the module inserted in the enclosure is analog. If the module is analog, the processor will read the available dates in group of 16 bits with 12 bits displaying the analog value in binary or BCD. The processor reads the dates in bytes, by bytes, and get the value with 12 bits. Get the value with 12 bits. This depending on the resolution. Maybe we can use it as 8 bits or 12 bits is okay. Analog input connection. An analog input interface can receive either signal-ended or differential inputs. Each channel in an analog interface provides signal filtering and isolation circuit to protect the module from noises. Shared conductor cables should be used to connect both the input module and the transducer. Analog input interface seldom required external power supply sources because they receive their required power from the back plane of the rack or enclosure. This figure shows the different input connection. It's a single-ended. This is a single-ended. Just connect the common to the common and input the signal by 1 bit. Input the signal by the 1 bit. One end. This is a differential input. Input the signal by 2 ends. This is some input output signal output signal but include the analog valves, actuators, charge recorders, electrical motor drives, analog meters, and the pressure transducer. Instruction for output module PLC the word from the PLC is to output to the analog output module. Is in the analog output module, the analog the digital value is converted to the analog Just the next here you can see in the analog output module there is one DA converter DA converter DA converter. Analog output representation The analog output we can give the output rate from 420 MA current is 10 to 50 MA current or some voltage or some kind of voltage this is some example to represent the analog output which is similar to the analog input is similar to the analog input This is output output and the input is similar for the analog input we use the AD converter but for the analog output we use the DA converter here is some example a transducer connected to an analog output module with a flow control valve capable of opening from 0 to 10% of total flow. The percentage of opening is proportional to an minus 10 to plus 10 VDC signal as the transducer input. The tubulate the relationship between percentage opening, output voltage, and counts for the output module in increment of 10%. The bipolar output module has a 12-bit DA with an additional sign bit that provides polarity to the output thing this is the relation between the counts voltage and the percentage This is the count S is the percentage and the voltage This relationship is linear. So we can calculate the ending the value at any point by the line equation by line equation for the 1% change as a function of voltage, this is a 1% change as a function of count as a count. So the percentage as a function of voltage this is a transformation of biliary storage table data into an analog signal. The value in the PLC memory can output to the output devices by the analog output instruction as instruction, and the value is converted to analog by DA DA convert and the output analog output is connected to the field devices every time after the user program is finished, the value is stored in the output register. Output register is given to the output module. In the output module, the digital value is converted to the analog. So we know the output is handled by the system after the user program is finished. The user program is finished. Let's give you an example. A programmable controller uses bipolar minus 10 to plus 10 VDC signal to control the flow of material being pumped into a reactor vessel. The flow control valve has a range of opening from 0 to 10 to 100% to allow the chemical ingredients to flow into the reactor tank. The processor computers the required flow through a predefined algorithm. Analog flow meters send the feedback information to the processor about other chemical being mixtured. A register stores the computed value for percentage opening ranging from 000 to 999 BCD. Let's see the example. A Find the equation of defining the relationship between the analog output signal and the analog output transformation. Find the equation of the line. Equation of the line. Find the line equation. Line equation. This module has 12 bits resolution and includes some bits as a function of voltage output and percentage opening. B illustrate the relationship of outputs in counts to the computed percentage opening as stored in the PLC register. Find the equation that describes the relationship between required counts and the available calculated values stored in the register. Counts and the calculated value This we need to find the non-equation and the non-equation Analog output connection. Analog output connection. We can just output the signal. Output the signal by the output interface. Output interface. After the signal is converted to analog signal, we can connect the signal to the devices by single-ended or differential outputs Hello. Hello, everyone.
Hello, 老师。
Yes,
Hello.
Laoshi, we are
Hello, sir.
here.
Hello, sir.
Let's have a break.
Yes,
Sure.
Laoshi.
老师。
Alright,
Okay, Laoshi.
Thank you, 老师。
nice break. England, America.
River Road for the rodeo. It's right here.
What day is it?
Well, it's payday for the hospital. I'm collaborating with you. The record is shut down. You have a compression fracture in your neck, and two in your back. Bone fragments press against your spine. Figure out how to get that out. Bandage it together. Place. Doctor said you're the youngest person who's ever done that too, so congratulations for that. He wants you up to walking today. How that's possible, I have no idea. You have a grade 3 concussion. We're supposed to bring you back to the hospital if you experience nausea or confusion. If there's other symptoms, since nauseous and confused is your natural state of being, they said your eyes might dilate, so we'll be on the lookout for that.
What's wrong with my arm?
Well, they didn't mention the arm, so it must be fine.
Doesn't look fine.
Compared to the rest of this shit, it's fine.
How am I gonna pay for all this?
Well, the hospital's pretty curious about that themselves. Look at me. Hospital bill's not a concern. You gotta make me a promise.
It's the only thing that made me feel like I was worth something.
Well, I figured as much. Run the rope. All you're risking is a dominant. You got two of those.
Mr. Dutton, thank you.
Yeah. Run the rope, Jimmy. I'm not paying for this shit twice.
Hey, Jimmy. Can I help you up so you can walk?
I don't really feel like walking, so.
Hip replacement, you can move around a bit. First, we need to remove your cap. All right, deep breath. Feel a little pressure. All right. Just relax.
Oh.
All right, get the mystery out of the way right up front. Is it just it's one from it's the way God made that one? Can I help? Are you a relative? Yeah, I'm a school. Yeah, sure. Just come over, grab an arm. All right.
I don't know if I can be in a relationship with someone because
I'm a girl, it's the bad judgment, it's just part of science.
This is appropriate, Chairman. I don't represent the Jenkins estate or whatever's left of it.
This estate is not my concern. Is there any validity to this?
The chess moves. Puts you on the defensive, stops you from building, and
That they don't have a winnable case.
well, define winnable. I mean, if you mean a judgment in their favor, no, but they could drag this out for years. This isn't a leveraged land developer. This is a multi-billion-dollar corporation that can spend $50, $100 million. Reality is, you doubt they want. They just don't want an Indian casino adjacent to a planned community.
So they'll try to buy me out.
I doubt they'll even bother. May I ask you a question? Personal question. Why build a casino in the first place? And what's the real reason? There are better locations with far better.
There's two futures for this alley. One with a land strip. You drive 20 miles into the park, and that's how information is. Modern society wants people to go to school, learn a trade, to make money. They still live on land that hasn't been ravaged by man. Don't need to buy food. Just go find it. You don't buy clothes, you make them. And you don't build houses. You seek shelter. You live with the land, not on it.
Yo, Mohammed, mute your mic. Also,
Hello.
老师。
Hello.
Let's continue our class.
OK，
Hello，老师。
Sure.
Hello，老师。
Hello. Next, I introduce the special function for the PLC. For the PLC. Special function I/O interfacing provide the link between programmable controllers and devices that require special type of signals. These special signals, which differ from standard analog and digital signals, are not very common. Occurring in only 5 to 10% of PLC applications. Divided into two categories. One, direct action interfacing. Intelligent I/O interfacing. Contain onboard processor. Direct action I/O interface. Direct action I/O interfacing application. The outputs and the inputs data must be response immediately. Intelligent I/O interface application. Use some onboard intelligent module. Gives the make the decision. Special discrete interfaces. Fast inputs and parse structure module. Some devices generate signals that are faster than PLC scan time. Special modules enable signal to remain valid for one scan. Example: some proximity switches have pulse duration 50 to 100 ms. Fast input module. Fast response interface. Response interface. Extension to fast input module. The speed of response is fast and independent of PLC speed. Example: the feed jam in high-speed production line. The high-speed production line. While input force module, detect short or open circuit connection between module and the devices. Used for critical input connection. Interface send 6 MA when off and 20 MA when on. This is some special analog interface. weight input module, temperature input module, and the PID module, PID module. Which input module, special type of analog interfaces are designed to read data from node cells, and which input module provides the excitation voltage for node cells as well as the necessary software for calibrating node cell circuit, except mini volt signal from the thermocouple transducers. The module amplifies, digitizes, and converts the input signal into digital signal. Thermocouples exhibits non-linearities along their range. Some non-linearity. On-board microprocessor calculates the temperature that correspond to the voltage reading. Thermocouple interfaces usually provide cold junction compensation and need resistance composition. This here is different from the analog inputs. In the analog inputs, the input data is linearity, in linear. But for the temperature, special temperature module, input relationship is non-linear. PID module, proportional integral derivative PID interfaces are used in process applications that require continuous closed loop control employing the PID algorithm. The PID module receives the process variable in analog form. The PID module receives primary control parameter and set point information from the main processor. During operation, the PID interface maintains status communication with the main CPU, exchange module, and the process information. This is a block diagram of PID control. The signal from the processor is given to the PID module. The PID module calculates the equation and outputs the result to the field device. At the same time, the input device is censored from the field devices. So the relationship between the diagram is this is bi-direction. This is direction from here. This is direction to here. This is the relationship the PID module. This relationship just like the feedback systems in the control serial. This is a illustration of PID control process. PID control process. The temperature sensor, sense the temperature and give it to PID module. Give it to PID module, and the PID module output the control to the valve control to the air valve and control the temperature in the tank. Control the temperature in the tank. This is a closed loop processor control. Closed loop processor control. This is a PID control. If we remove this box, this is a normally control. We know as closed loop. Closed loop. The control activates the process and the feedback the press variable to the junction, compare junction, and the compare junction compare the set points and output the error to the target. Output the error target. If we add the PID control in the systems, the error is input to the PID control into the PID control. This is the equation for the PID control. I have introduced before. Next, introduce the positioning and interface. Positioning interface. Positioning interface are intelligent module that provide the position related feedback and control output information in machine access control applications. Positioning interfaces use PLC instruction that transfer blocks of data at a time. This data includes initialized parameters, distances and limits and velocities Instructions such as block transfer in and out and move data in and out are typically used to implement this transfer of information. This is the positioning interface. Here is the PLC. The PLC signal is sent to the several module. The several module control the motor to drive the table. This is a half loop systems. Half loop feedback systems. The feedback, sometimes we can get the feedback signal from the motor. If we don't have the feedback, this open loop. Encoder and counter interface. Encoder and counter interface. Encoder counter module interface. Encoders and high-speed counter devices with programmable controllers. This module operates independently of the processor and I/O scan. An encode counter module is an integral part of programmable controller systems. When it is used in applications requiring position information. Applications include closed loop positioning of machine tools access and conveyors, as well as cycle monitoring of high-speed machines. There are two types of encoder counter interface: absolute and incremental. The communication between an encoder counter interface, the processor is bidirectional. The processor is bidirectional. As the encoder counter interface connection diagram this is encode. This is a encoder counter module. Encoder counter module. Stepper motor interface. Stepper motor interface. Stepper motor are permanent type magnet motors that translate incoming process through a stepper translators into mechanical motion. The motion of stepper can be accelerated, decelerated, or maintained constantly by controlling the pulse rate. Output from a stepper module. A stepper motor's motion follows the numbers of input pulse. The ability to respond to a fixed input enables the system to operate in an open loop mode, leading to cost saving in the total systems. As stepper interfacing generates a pulse string that is compatible with the stepper translator, indicating distance, rate, and direction commands to the motor. Here is a linear slide. Use a stepper motor. PLC gives the pulse by the stepper module. The stepper module, the pulse is sent to translator. The translator gives the pulse to the stepper motor. The stepper motor are running, driving the lead screw, and drive the table and the movement to move. And if you use onto the closed loop, the absolute encoder can be installed on the lead screw, and sends the position or the rotary to the encode module. That's another stable interface use stable module and encode module The step module gives the signal to the driver or the translator Translator gives the signal to the step motor, and the status is feedback by the absolute encoder Just the feedback to the encoder module. Next, introduce the servo motor interface. Servo motor is a special designed module. That contains a permanent magnet. The speed of a servo motor can be easily varied by changing the input voltage to the motor. A servo module provides the drive controller with an plus minus 10 VDC signal, which defines the forward and reverse speeds of the servo motor. Servo positioning controls operate in an closed loop systems requiring feedback information in the form of velocity of or position. Advantages of servo control include short positioning time, high accuracy, and reliability. Applications include grinders, metal forming machines, transfer lines, material handling machines, and the precise control of several drive valves in continuously precise application. This is an application servo motor interface. SPLC uses the servo motor interface. Gives a signal to the servo drive, and then servo drive gives the drives the servo motor, and the servo motor drives the lead screw, drives the slide or the table, one slide table. The status include the servo motor velocity. Servo motor velocity is feedback to the servo drive, and the position. The position is feedback by the encoder, to the module, to the encoder module. This is a servo module interface. Here is the servo control block diagram. Servo control with the same module. Servo module gives the speed control to the servo drive. drives the motor, self-drive drives the motor, and the speed is feedback by the tachometer, and the position feedback by the encoder, here is the connection diagram. Encode server drive. This is the tachometer connected to the server drive, and then the tachometer measure the speed of motor, measure the speed of motor. Next, introduce some other interface. ASCII computers and the network interfaces. Special I/O modules aid in the communication of information to the real world. These intelligent modules accept data from and transmit data to field devices, including computers and other PLCs. This data is transmitted in one of the following forms. ASCII characters, a computer language such as BASIC or C. Property medias, as in the case of network, ASCII input output interfaces send and receive alphanumeric data between peripheral equipment and the controller. Typical peripheral devices include printers, video monitors, and displays. The information exchange in either type of interface generally take place via an RS-232C, RS-422, RS-485, or an 20 MA current loop standard communication link. Last class, I introduced communication between the PLC and the computer. I use the RS-485. Basic modules are intelligent. Basic modules are intelligent. I/O interfaces are capable of performing computational tasks without burdening the PLC processor's computing time. Basic module does not actually command or control specific field devices. Rather, it complements the performance of PLC systems. Some data processing modules are able to run language other than basic, such as Pascal, C, or other high-level language. Network interface module. Network interface module allow a number of PLCs and other intelligent devices to communicate and parse PLC data over a high-speed local area communication network. The most popular network are device level bus networks, which are used by discrete devices. Precise field network, which are used by analog devices. Internet network used by PLC, CPU, and the computer. Here, something you need to know. This is some special module. The function is important, but when we use PLC as a controller, we needn't to make a program by ourselves. We just use the program written by the manufacturers. So for the PLC, we use PLC to control the precise. We can control the field devices easily. This is some network interface. If we want to use the network module, we just insert the network module to the PLC and use the function supplied by the manufacturers. Fuzzy logical interface. As we know, this fuzzy logical I introduced before. If we use the microcontroller as a controller, some program we need to make it by ourselves. So, but if we use the fuzzy logical interface on the PLC, we can use the function provided by the manufacturers. Serial communication. As I said, this function is provided by the manufacturers. We just connect the wires and use it. Serial communication occurs in serial form through simple twisted pile cables. Serial data transmission is used for most peripheral communication devices. Serial communication allows peripheral equipment such as terminals, modems, operators, interface panels, and non-printers to receive ask information. Two of the most popular standards for serial communication are RS232C and the 20 MA current loop. Other PLC standards are RS422 and RS485. This is a popular standards. Is other PLC standards. PLC standards used for industrial field. Hello, everyone.
老师，
Hello，老
Hello，
师。
老师。
老师。
Okay.
Hello，老师。
Today's class, I have give you some introduce about the PLC interface, including inputs and outputs and the communication
Yes.
This module is provided by the manufacturers. We can just connect the module to the PLC and use the function. We needn't to make the make the program make program. So the PLC is easy to use. For most of industrial control, we use PLC. We use PLC. I suggest you everyone can learn something about the programming. PLC programming. Last class I give you some PDF files about the S7-200 smart S200 smart.
Yes.
You can make the program and practice the programming.
Okay, 老师。
Okay.
Okay. 老师, did you send us this PPT? This one, the one for today's class.
Okay. Next after I finish the class, I give you the PPT.
Okay, 老师.
After I finish today's class.
Okay.
Okay. Today's class, we can end today's class.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
no problem.
Yes, 老师. So much information. So much.
Okay. You
Yes.
can. I give you the PPT. You can read it by yourself.
Yes, 老师.
Sure, of course.
Today's class is over.
Yes, 老师. Please, we are waiting for the PPT.
See you next week.
See you,
See you,
老
老
师.
师. PPT, 老师.
Okay, no problem. I share the PPT in the net meeting chat room. Net meeting chat room.
The time is 17 hours.